Okay, so here's my second assembly. It's in the second week of the school closure. Hope you're all still feeling well and cheerful and positive and managing to get out for your daily walk and enjoy some time at home. So my thoughts today follow on from the assembly last week. Last week I was talking about our holidays to Skye that we do every year. And today I'm thinking about journeys that we can take while we stay at home. Easter's obviously a time when many people are used to going away to see friends and family and travelling a bit, or maybe going away on holiday. But this year, most of us aren't able to do that. So I've been thinking about some reading I've been doing and some things I've been watching on television as well, and they sort of came together in a theme about travel and journeys. Literature, the sort of Western tradition of literature, has been really based on journeys and travels. It's been a really well-established theme for a very long time. The second great work of Western literature, Homer's Odyssey, is based on a 10-year journey where Odysseus travels back following the Trojan War to get back home. And it's all about the people he meets and the trials that he has along the way. And of course, there are many great works of literature that are based on journeys, either real or imagined. And I've got 3 books, a film and a TV programme to bind together to try and get this sense of journeys that we can take while we stay at home. So the first book I read recently with this theme is this book. It's called From Source to Sea. It's by a Times journalist from Cheshire. And it's about his walk down the Thames Path. The Thames Path starts not too far from Malmesbury, actually, over near Cricklade, and heads all the way down to the sea, the Thames estuary in Essex. And I was brought up near the Thames as a child, and so it's got a special place in my heart. And it's a really lovely, just story of him walking, mostly by himself, sometimes with people joining him for the odd section, down the Thames Path, describing the landscape, the people he meets along the way. And one of the things about journey and travels in literature and in film is that they're partly about landscape. As a geographer, I love the bit about landscape and what we can see about changing countryside. But they're also about self-discovery, they're about challenge, overcoming things, they're about the people that are met along the path as well. So that was my first bit of reading. I read it about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I recommend it. And as so often the case when I've got plenty of time on my hands, and maybe if I'm feeling a bit fed up, when I look for reading, I return to some old favourites. And a particular favourite of mine, which I inherited really from my father. It was one of his favourite books. Always made him laugh, cheered him up, and it does the same for me. It's a book called 3 Men in a Boat by Jerome K. Jerome, also based on the Thames, written originally in 1889. It tells the tale of 3 friends and their dog, Montmorency, the dog, who take a trip in a rowing boat up the River Thames. And it's a comic story of the adventures and misadventures that they have, and also some quite nice bits of landscape description and historical description of Edwardian England, of a certain time and type of person. Some really very funny passages about camping and the misadventures that they have along the way. Montmorency, the dog, gets up to all kinds of things, and the 3 men fall out, make friends, get into all kinds of scrapes and trouble along the way. It is a delightful book, very, very funny in my mind, quite dated, I think now, but nonetheless, a lovely book. And again, that theme about relationships, a lot is about the 3 men together, 3 friends, and their friendship and the experience that they have along the way. So the other book that I have is in some ways a bit of a cheat. It's both the book and the film. It's the same thing. And one of my absolute favourite books, it's The Lord of the Rings. Great advantage at this time when we've all got plenty of time on our hands, of course. and it's a great big fat book. You really get stuck into it. You've got hours and hours and hours of pleasure. It's also the film, got the DVD. We've been watching that with my son, and this is a book I think that I've passed on to him, really, and he loves it as much as I do, and we've both read it many times and watched the films endlessly. I think in terms of the films that they're available, I think on Netflix now, there's some of the best adaptations, film adaptations of books. Really, really exciting, dramatic, beautifully shot in New Zealand. For those of you that know nothing about it, of course, it's a fantastical journey taken by a group, the Fellowship of the Ring, with at the heart of it a hobbit who sets off, called Frodo, sets off to destroy a magical ring of power. It's a great adventure, battles and excitement and heroes and villains and all sorts of wonderful creations like that. But it's also, again, fundamentally about the relationships between this group of people, the Fellowship, how they fall out. It's about Frodo and his companion, Samwise Gamgee, their challenges that they face and the bravery that they discover, the relationship that they have, the reserves that they find to take on this quest. And it's an emotional journey, intellectual journey, as much as a physical one over a long and very challenging landscape. So wonderful films as a good starting point if you don't quite fancy the book, but I really do recommend the book, and you'll have hours and hours of pleasure from it and be able to keep going back to it. And the final journey thing that we've been enjoying, which I can recommend, is a BBC television programme called Race Across the World. Again, it's available on the iPlayer. It's not finished yet. I think we're 3 episodes in, and the premise is that they started off I think 5 couples. One drops out, so I think we've got 4 couples at the moment. Interesting couples in that there's a mother and son, there's a brother and sister, a husband and wife, and there's also another couple who weren't married. And they set out to race from Mexico down to the end of South America, and they have to do it on a very tight budget. They have to go overland for the price of the air ticket. So it's quite a tough challenge for them in terms of getting buses and trains and taxis and walking across the length of Middle and South America. And again, in that same spirit we've talked about, really the reasons that they've gone on the journey are the most interesting things. And as you watch the TV programme one after the other, you get quite attached to the individuals, the relationships that they have between them. And they talk a lot about why they're on the journey and what they hope to get from it. And you get fantastic landscape all the way down through South America as well. So while this Easter we can't get out and travel in maybe the way we'd like to, what you can do is you can travel a lot from your front room, and you can explore the world, whether it's a real world or an imagined world, and you can get great pleasure from journeys inside your mind and inside your house. And I hope you're able to do that. There are an endless variety of other books, films and television programs, travel documentaries that are available as well, but that's my little recommendation for you. So I hope, again, that you're all very well. All the staff at Malmesbury School send you their very best wishes. Hope that you're keeping happy and you're managing to look out for everybody and show that caring side that you have, and hope that you do enjoy some excellent literature, films, and other things along the way. So all my very best wishes, and I'll speak to you again in a week or so.